Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Thursday, the 30th day of July. Here we go. Once again, we want to remind you that it's going to be a festive day on Friday. That's the 15th of Av. No Tachnun will be recited. And we're going to give you some more reasons why Tu B'Av is considered a festive day. One of the fascinating reasons is because of a story called Pilegesh Begiva. You can read that story. It's in Shoftim in Perek Yud Tes, or 19, Judges 19. And basically, the story there is about how some men from the tribe of Binyamin, from the Shevet of Binyamin, did some unspeakable sins, and it developed into literally a war between the Shevet of Binyamin, the tribe of Binyamin, and the other Shvatim. It was a horrific incident. It's called Pilegesh Begiva, and because of it, the people of the tribe of Binyamin were actually excommunicated. People from the rest of Israel were told to have nothing to do with the tribe of Binyamin, and I don't have to tell you what a sad thing that is. And after this decree stayed in force for a while, finally it was lifted, and the day that it was lifted was the 15th of Av. And of course, that was a celebration because it meant that the evil had been behind them. People had repented. The Shevet was back in good standing, and all of Israel, all of Yisrael was one again. So of course that marked the Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, as a very happy day. Now, the next story that also took place on the 15th of Av, at least the ending of this story took place on the 15th of Av, is unbelievable. Here it goes. In the year 133 of our present count, we're in 2015, so in year 133, this was some 60 or 70 years after the temple had been destroyed, there were still a lot of Jews living in the area of Beitar. And a man called Bar Kokhba, at least that's what they referred to him as, had kind of started a rebellion against the Romans, and it seemed like, people thought, even Rabbi Akiva thought, that Bar Kokhba might be Mashiach, and a great new time was coming in, and maybe the Gullus, the diaspora, would end at that point because they had been exiled from the temple, which was destroyed in the year 70 or 68 according to some, and here we are 60 or 70 years later, and it looks like Bar Kokhba was going to free us from all of that by being Mashiach. Well, the Romans came and did battle against him, and in the city of Beitar made a terrible, terrible massacre. And it also happened on the 9th of Av, by the way, and many, many Jews were killed. The scene of the killing was horrific. They say that the blood ran like a river all the way out to the sea, and it was up to the horses' necks. That's how deep the blood was. And it happened on the 9th of Av, and it crushed, of course, the rebellion of Bar Kokhba. After the Jews were killed, there was another horrific incident, which was that the conqueror in that battle had decided that he wanted all the bodies piled up and not put for burial, and they would just be piled around his garden area. This must have been a very unusual person, and it was his pleasure to have piles and piles of bodies all around his garden area, and that maybe it spoke of his power or something. It's hard to understand why a man would want that, but the bodies could not be buried, and of course that was incredibly sad, besides the massacre. Finally, years later, on the 15th of Av, they were granted permission to bury the bodies, and a great, great, great miracle was seen when they buried the bodies, and that was that none of the bodies had decomposed, and this was over 15 years. None of the bodies had decomposed, so obviously that is an unbelievable miracle. So although the story is encased in sadness, but when they had that glimpse of hope and miraculous incidents from Hashem, it was a sign that God was with them, besides the horrific things that had happened, and they marked it as a very happy occasion, believe it or not. That's the 15th of Av. So happy is it that they added a fourth bracha to benching. That's the one called Hatova HaMetiv, the long bracha. That's the fourth bracha of benching. That was added when this unbelievable incident happened with the burial of the non-decomposed bodies in the year 148 of our present count. And that happened on the 15th of Av. That's another reason for the celebration of Tu B'Av coming up on Friday. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.